Bonjour tout le monde! Have you ever wondered what the French eat for breakfast? Well, that's exactly what we're getting into in today's video. And to start, we're gonna head into the French grocery store Intermarché behind me to check out what they have. All right, let's head in. Something that's great about France is that seasonal produce is often local and it's excellent. And right now in May, we have strawberries. And they make a nice addition to yogurt, things like that, add a little honey. And a lot of these are local strawberries from France. And some of the most popular varieties are the sifflorette. We also have gariguette, mariguette, all kinds. And it says right on the packaging, production française. So they are French strawberries. Okay, let's head into the cereal aisle, and you're going to notice brands that are familiar to you, big global corporations. You know, you'll see Kellogg's, you'll see Nestle, the French version of Frosted Flakes. These are all popular with kids, as you might expect. And one of the most popular ones is Choc-a-Pic. Right here, a cocoa-based cereal, chocolate-based. When I first came to France, something I never really saw was the Quaker oats, and now they're commonplace. You can get them pretty much at any grocery store, and that's a good thing because I have I have oatmeal pretty much every morning. And if we continue down the aisle a little bit, you'll see a selection of cereal bars. They've become more and more popular. And next to it, all kinds of hot drinks for the morning, such as Banania, and you will see a Nesquik chocolate drink as well. Right here, all of these are really popular, and I'm going to turn around and show you the coffee and tea. So there's a whole selection of different teas, organic, non-organic, with caffeine, without herbal tea, that sort of thing. And instant coffee is still pretty popular, as you could see here, but as we continue moving to the right, you'll notice a lot of capsule-based coffees and espressos for machines like Nespresso, Tassimo. There's even, which is new to me, Starbucks capsules here for machines that take those. And yeah, the pods are really, really popular. And in addition to coffee and tea, you'll see the Milka, hot chocolate, cappuccinos, and all of that, all very popular with the French, as is coffee that you make at home from the grounds. So here we have coffee beans and that sort of thing. Yogurt and something called fromage frais. All of that is very popular. Fromage blanc. All of this is popular in the morning as well, and you can add fruit, you could add honey, some people add sugar, and you'll see just as we quickly go through the aisle here, all different types of yogurts. Skyr is something I've seen pop up in the past year. There's all types of fruit-based yogurts as well, and there are ones for vegetarians that are made with soy milk, almond milk, coconut milk, oat milk right here. So there's a nice selection. Yogurt made with goat milk. In terms of refrigerated juice, multi-fruit, also apple and orange are very popular, and you will see Tropicana, the store brand, and some other brands as well. And now if we head down the cookie aisle, you'll see all types of viennoiserie, pain au chocolat, that sort of thing packaged. Of course, it's better quality from the bakery, but hey, in a pinch, you do what you have to do. And as we continue down this aisle, we're gonna come upon the jams, confiture, and my favorite brand is the Bonne Maman, and I like the line here. That's the intense line, so it's less sugar, as it says here, moins sucré, and really intense fruit flavor. So I'm going to pick up one of those, but as you'll see as I back up to show you the whole aisle, there's no shortage of spreads, including hazelnut spreads like Nutella. There's honey. If I move gently to my left here, and all kinds of interesting flavors of jam. One I've never tried that just caught my eye as I was recording it is the fig violet, the figue violette. Sounds really inspiring and interesting. Might have to pick that up, but yeah. And the jams are most commonly put on a piece of bread, a baguette, or if you don't have that, something called a tartine, which we'll get to in a minute. I'm gonna pick up a box of those and show you how it's done once we get home. Okay, so right behind me we have what I just mentioned, la biscotte, and basically it's a crunchy piece of toast like this, And what we have are ones that are céréales, so multigrain, and we also have just ones without seeds like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the one with all the different seeds in it. And it's also made by the brand Lu out of Nantes, near where I live, and they make really good butter cookies as well. So it's a good brand. I'm gonna pick this up and I'll show you what we do with the jam. So the vast majority of milk options are shelf-stable in France, not refrigerated, and you'll see non-dairy options such as soy and different nut milks, oat milk, that sort of thing, and then of course skim, whole, and demi-écrémé, which is 2%. Noted by the green top would be skim. The whole milk entier is here in red, and then we also have the blue, which is the 2%. So I'm gonna grab some milk. Something else you might be familiar with, because I believe we have them in the US as well, is the Belle Vita line of, I guess you could call them breakfast cookies. They're in the cookie aisle here, and you'll see these. I wouldn't say they're crazy popular, but they're popular enough if you have to grab breakfast on the go. So yeah, there's ones with chocolate, and then there's even, looks like a kind here that's a soft kind of like a fig Newton of some sort. All right, let's head to the register, and then we'll head home. So let's talk about what the French eat for breakfast, and then we'll get into what I bought at the supermarket. So first, the word for breakfast in French is petit-déjeuner. It literally means little lunch. And for the majority of French people, breakfast is the least important meal of the day. And it's usually not a big sit-down meal. And let me point out too that for some Americans, breakfast is also skipped, and it's just something you grab on the go. Now, in general, I feel there's more of a focus on breakfast in the US than in France, and maybe it's even more commercialized in the US. You know, chains like Waffle House, Perkins, and Dunkin' Donuts, they all specialize in breakfast. You don't really find that in France. But keep in mind that not all French people eat the same way, so what I'm going to talk about here will not apply to everyone everywhere. Now, breakfast in France, it's often sweet and not savory, and it's carb heavy. So for breakfast foods in France, think jam and a pastry, and not eggs, cheese, or meat. So in France, it's not scrambled eggs or an omelet like we might commonly eat in the US. In France, eggs are more commonly seen as a non-breakfast option, such as an omelet for dinner. A typical breakfast tends to be on the lighter side and on the simpler side, and that's because the French eat a heartier meal for lunch, especially on the weekends when they have more time. The most common breakfast foods in France are a pastry, a toasted piece of baguette or bread with a spread like jam, or Nutella and butter, that's called a tartine. And if you're out of bread, you can buy crunchy pieces of bread called la biscotte from the supermarket, which we'll get into in a second. And they're made perfectly for tartines. So we're gonna get into that. Also yogurt, a piece of fruit, juice, coffee in your Oui In France mug. You can check out my links down below for my merch. Or café au lait in a bowl, not a mug. Instant coffee, as I said, is also popular, but so are the pod-based coffee machines like Nespresso and Tassimo. Now, normally the French don't have all of these breakfast options together. They're not going to have this big breakfast spread. They'll choose one, maybe two things, you know, the yogurt and the fruit, or maybe biscuit, coffee and tea. You know, I'm just showing you everything for a demonstration. So it's just a light meal. And in recent years, sugary breakfast cereals marketed toward kids have become more and more popular. And one of the, you know, the staple flagship cereals for kids is Chocapic. Here, I'll show you what that looks like as well. And just real quick, for those of you in North America who love cereal, let me introduce you to the best cereal ever. It's called Magic Spoon. I heard about them on a podcast last year. It's a really healthy cereal that's non-GMO, it's gluten-free, high protein, no artificial flavorings, and keto-friendly, if that is how you eat. And you can get $5 off with code Oui In France. I've linked that below. But back to the French. On the weekends, the French generally spend a little bit more time, at the breakfast table enjoying their breakfast, and they'll eat later than during the week when they're rushing to work. So I think that holds true in the US and other countries as well. And one thing just to let you know to keep in mind about breakfast foods in France is that the vast majority of French people do not eat a pastry daily, for breakfast at home. Most people will grab a croissant, a fresh croissant from the bakery, or the pain au chocolat, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday, but it's certainly not a daily occurrence despite what you see on Instagram. The croissant and the pain au chocolat are very popular for special occasions, but not everyday meals. And something that's very popular, especially in big cities, is grabbing breakfast at a cafe before your morning errands. So you'll often see a fresh pastry, a coffee, and juice offered for a fixed price on a menu. So no elaborate breakfast menus or a diner breakfast. That kind of fare isn't really a thing. But I will say, as time's gone on and international trends in foods make their way to France, what the French eat is changing. And this includes breakfast foods in France. And just on a personal note, when I first came to France, it was really hard to find peanut butter. Same with Quaker oatmeal. It wasn't really on store shelves, and now both things are commonplace at regular supermarkets. So things change with time, and it's mostly for the best. Another example of this globalization is the concept of brunch. 10 years ago, it wasn't really a thing, but now you'll see restaurants with special brunch menus that have trendy options like avocado toast, and that's especially true in big cities. And the brunch is often a mix of sweet and savory like you'd find in other parts of the world. So keep an eye out for brunch menus in France. But with that, let's get into what I have here. So first I have, first I should say, French breakfast can come from the supermarket, as most of these things came from the supermarket. The farmer's market called Le Marché in French. That's where I got these local strawberries. They were $3.50 for a small little barquette here of, I think, about 250 grams. They're great. And then French people also get their breakfast items, if they're getting the viennoiserie, as I mentioned, from the bakery. So it's just a mix of those three. So we have our locally grown strawberries, the gariguette here. I think they're grown next to me in Vendée. Also yogurt, as I showed you in the supermarket, very popular. I just have a coconut Activia. It's very popular to mix in either honey or a confiture, jam. And I love the Bonne Maman brand, but I have a food allergy, so I couldn't find one that was okay for me to eat. So I just got this organic option. As you'll remember, bio in French means organic, and this is an apricot flavor. So we'll get to that when we open this box. Then you could put your hot chocolate, your coffee or tea in your Oui In France mug. Then we also have the cereal, which I mentioned, as well as for on-the-go little packets of Belvita. It's marked breakfast cookies here, cereal cookies, and this is a hazelnut and chocolate flavor, and they come in little pouches, so they can be good as well. Something that's interesting on French products is the Nutri-Score here, and you can see at a glance what grade a particular product gets. So this is the Chocapic cereal, it gets a B, and then here, the sweet, even though it's organic, the sweet jam, gets a D. And there's more nutritional information on the back. Okay, so for the biscuit, I have a plate here, some butter, and we're gonna open up this box. And you'll see they're packaged like little toasts. Little toasts like this. I got the seeded option. And what's really common with the French, there's all different brands, but most of them look like toasts, and they're all crunchy bread, is first you spread a little butter, like so. So I've spread a little butter here on the toast. And then what you do, where did I put my jam? Ooh, jam, where are you? Oh. Then we're gonna go ahead and open up our confiture. Pop. Okay, we're gonna open this. And we'll just go ahead and put a little confiture on there. So then we have what they call a tartine. Whoop, broke a little piece off. And you could do this with a baguette. You could do this with regular toast. You could do it with other types of biscuit that you get at the supermarket. Totally up to you. And it makes a really nice breakfast option. And of course, jams, they come in all different flavors. So anyway, that was just a quick look at what breakfast is like in France. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, let me know down below. And of course, check out all my links, sign up for my newsletter, follow me on social media for more everyday French life and beyond. So happy to have you here. Thanks everyone, and see you back here on Oui In France soon. Salut!